Hello, everyone. My name is Sajit Keshwan, and welcome to Kismet Connects. I am a numerologist, life coach, and author. Today, what we are discussing is how to 10x your focus with deep work. It's a very interesting concept, a tried and tested, proven strategy for improving or enhancing your productivity. If you remember in the last video, which was Pareto or 80-20 rule that I shared, uh, I helped you with a strategy or a technique through which you can reduce your focus to limited few things. When you scatter your energy everywhere, then nothing gets done. So Pareto or 80-20 rule was to bring your focus narrow to 3 to 4 things in each of the important areas. Now with deep work, what you can do is once your prioritized list of items are there, then you can allot a specific time for each of those items and then go deep into solving them or figuring out how to go about it. And that is why deep work becomes very interesting concept. Now what it does is it tells you a technique through which you are able to focus without distraction on some really critical and important tasks. Now obviously the output is high quality work, and as you would experience once you start implementing deep work, the time that it takes to do this kind of activity reduces as you become more familiar with deep work. So let's go deep into deep work and see what it entails. Why it matters, like I said, it improves productivity. Once your critical tasks are being done in a systematic way, then the stress is also less. And when you allot a specific time and use the deep work technique, then creativity also increases. Any kind of work that you do requires some bit of creativity to make it special. And when you use the technique of deep work, then the creativity is at a altogether different level, and that's why also this methodology is very important. How to implement it? So first of all, you need to identify a high impact task that requires extreme focus. You remember we had discussed about MIT in some of our videos, which is the most important task. So whatever is your most important task for, let's say, next 2 to 3 weeks, that area you can choose, or that task you can choose for the deep work. Now what you need to do is schedule 2 to 4 hours in your calendar for this deep work. It can be one day in a week, it can be one day in a fortnight, or it can be one day in a month. But allot those 2 to 4 hours. Inform, if you're working from home, inform your family members that this 2 to 4 hours non negotiable. Unless somebody needs to be taken to hospital, I'm not opening my door. I am fully engaged with deep work. I won't be able to pick calls. I won't be able to open the door, and so on and so forth. Now, there are a lot of tools which will help you eliminate distractions, and we will discuss them as we go along this presentation. So, there are tools like Freedom or Forest, which will ensure that while you're involved in deep work, there is absolutely no distraction whatsoever. Now, what is also important is you clearly outline what you plan to achieve with this deep work from the schedule that you have created for, let's say, once in a week. The first task that you will accomplish, what does success look like at the end of those 2 hours? It's very important to define that. Now, before you start deep work, let's say you have scheduled a time for coming Wednesday. It's very important that every time you start a deep work, there is a ritual that you practice. It could be listening to one particular song which motivates you, energizes you, and then you start the ritual. Or it could be just closing your eyes and visualizing the success criteria that you have allotted for this deep work. Something which signals to the mind that now I cannot afford any distraction. I am locked in this room for next 2 hours to finish this work. And over a period of time, whenever you start that ritual, your mind will automatically be clearly focused on that work. Now, there are other techniques like Pomodoro technique or 90-minute blocks. Even though it's a scheduled 2 to 3 hour hard, focus time for this work, you need to keep taking breaks in between, very minor breaks. Pomodoro technique, what it says is that every 25 minutes of focused work, you take a 5-minute break. Now, since you are doing involved in deep work, it doesn't mean that you can go and watch something. It just means that you can get up from your chair, take a stroll around the room, and probably then get back within 5 minutes. Or, after 25 minutes of work, you drink a glass of water. Once the deep work is finished, then you can track progress, adjust for next time, write down what your observations were, how effective it was, and based on that you can make minor modifications to the deep work as the time progresses and as you do many iterations. You don't have to start with 2 to 4 hours. Trust me, you can start with just 1 hour as well. Now, I'll give you some interesting case studies. This is the person who actually implemented and invented this technique of deep work. His name is Cal Newport, and he had immense success by first using it for himself. And that is when he started with this book, and he completed this book. And then he, kind of started teaching others about how this technique can help them also focus. Now, if you see, he also, while he's involved in deep work, he generally blocks 3 to 4 hours and then avoids any distractions, whether it's email or social media and so on and so forth. And result of that is that he has authored multiple best-selling books. It's just not deep work. He has Digital Minimalism, So Good They Cannot Ignore You. All these books, which are bestsellers now, has been written by him. Bill Gates, big believer in deep work. He has actually allotted a time which he calls Think Week. Twice a year he goes for Think Week. He secludes himself in some old wood cabin somewhere in US or in Europe, and he is not accessible to anybody. And just look at the outcomes he has achieved through Think Week, and these are all in his own words he has mentioned. Internet Explorer was the outcome of one of those think weeks. .NET Framework was the outcome of one of those think weeks. His whole, focus shifting to philanthropy through the Melinda and Gates Foundation is a result of one of those think weeks in 2006. His whole attention towards climate change solutions was a result of Think Week in 2015. J.K. Rowling, who doesn't know her, the author of Harry Potter. Now she could finish, people actually get tired writing one book. She has finished such a successful series of Harry Potter books, and that is all because she is also a big believer in deep work. She used to set daily word count goals and created one of those best selling ebook series of all times. So, what is your next project and how can we make it happen? There are some tools which can help you. One of the tools is Focus at Will. What it does is it actually uses music to increase the focus that you would have when you're doing certain work. It's proven as per them that certain kinds of music actually increase your focus towards whatever work you're trying to do. And that is why it provides a certain kind of music which will reduce any kind of distraction and keep you in that flow state. Do you guys understand what is a flow state? Flow state is wherein you don't even realize how the time passes and you continue to achieve your objective. So focus at will is a very good tool, and it helps you achieve good results in whatever work you're doing by modulating the music, which allows you to focus more. There is one more tool called Freedom. What it does is it blocks distracting websites and apps across all devices. So when you click it on, that means there is absolutely no email notification, there is no virus update, nothing will pop up till the time the Freedom app is on. It's a very interesting tool. A lot of people actually use this when they are involved in deep focus work. So my suggestion is definitely go and check out Notion is very good. It's like a workspace for notes, tasks, and projects. What it does is it allows you to be completely organized towards what work you're doing. So it is an organizer tool and keeps you deep work goals and tasks organized. So that is also one more tool which can help when you are actually imbibing this methodology called deep work. It also helps you keep it centralized. You may have a higher goal which is a 3-year goal, but whatever tasks are linked to it, it all needs to come up in a summary page. That's what the Notion dashboard does. Forest. It's a gamified app that grows a virtual tree when you avoid distractions. So what it does is it tracks as to how focused you are in whatever work you're doing, and the longer you're focused, it keeps on growing literally a tree in that app. And once the tree is fully grown, that means you have achieved an objective, and then you can reward yourself. So that is how forest works. Another interesting concept. You should definitely go and check it out. Now, what could be the challenges when you're trying to implement something like this? First and the most obvious one is distractions. An Instagram notification, a WhatsApp message, or what you can, or a phone call maybe. So use tools like Freedom of Forest so that you can stay away from distractions. You getting overwhelmed when you continue to do a certain kind of work and there is absolutely no distraction, then it becomes very overwhelming. So that is why Pomodoro technique is very important, wherein you break it up into 25-minute schedules and take 5-minute break in between. First 5-minute break, probably you can drink a juice. Second 5-minute break, you can take a stroll around the room. Third 5-minute break, probably you can see a picture which motivates you, your vision board, and so on and so forth. Lack of motivation, I'm so sorry, lack of motivation to actually implement the deep work. How do we set that? Like I said, unless you have a 3 year or 5 year goal which helps you stay motivated towards doing these kind of things, all these techniques will look useless to you. So, friends, unless you have a 5 year goal or 3 year goal, there is no point, viewing these techniques or reading about them. First and foremost thing which you should do is to have a 5 year or 3 year goal, which is which you believe in and which is a very passionate goal for you. That is when these techniques, which are enablers, would sound exciting to you. So, which is the top, task that you are grappling with at this point in time? Why don't you use this technique, deep work technique, to implement that? You should commit at least 7 days of deep work in next quarter, let's say. So, my request would be that at least start the first deep work within this week, allot 1 hour to begin with, and finish the first deep work, which is of 1 hour. And then subsequently, once you accomplish that and you feel confident, then I would request you to plan for the next quarter and at least have 7 deep work scheduled for the quarter. Quarter has 3 months, so we are talking about 90 days in which you will allot 7 days for deep work. I would be very happy if you share your progress in the comment section once you implement this technique. And thank you for watching this video. Like I always say, please share this video if you really think it's added value and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.